In our local area, we have a huge amount of ageing housing stock, and this is a similar picture throughout much of the country. Many properties dating from a similar time period will encounter the same issues, and so, as building surveyor, I have a pretty good idea of issues that might be present at a property before I even get to site. In this video, I'll be talking about properties built around the turn of the last century, perhaps dating from around 1880 to 1910, though some aspects are applicable to other properties too. One common feature of houses built around 1900 is that where these are joined together, either as semi-detached or terraced houses, is that they not only have shared chimneys on the party wall line, but also the party walls or firewalls continue above the roof line to form parapet walls. Because of their location, these chimneys and parapet walls bear the brunt of the worst British weather. This can lead to failure of the lead flashings, render, and mortar. When mortar fails, the brickwork starts to act like a sponge, allowing water to enter the structure and cause dampness internally. Back in the good old days, before health and safety required us to provide safe access at height and actually look after our workers, this wasn't such an issue, as your friendly local builder would be more than happy to shimmy up his ladder to perch on your rooftop without a second thought. He'd probably even eat his lunch up there. Today, these chimneys and parapet walls can be very expensive to maintain, in large part due to the cost of providing safe access, normally through scaffolding. This means that these details are regularly neglected on cost grounds, or even good old out of sight, out of mind. To be watertight, chimneys and parapet walls need to be in good repair. Although they normally fall across a boundary line, both sides of these items need to be in good repair for them to function properly. I want you to consider a sponge. If you get one side of that sponge repeatedly wet, would you expect that to soak through and eventually see water appearing on the other side of the sponge? Not so the tradesman completing work for these poor householders this week. To keep a sponge dry, the sponge needs to be free from water on all sides, otherwise it will just track across and saturate the whole thing. This is the same with chimneys and parapet walls. Twice in the last day, I've spoken to homeowners who have had repairs completed to their chimneys or parapet walls, and their tradesmen have just repaired the side of them belonging to the instructing party. I don't know who needs to hear this, but water doesn't care about ownership or property boundaries. If there is a way to enter into and track across masonry structures, it will. It is crucial that when repairing chimneys and parapet walls, the whole structures are repaired, not just one side. Often, only half the repair is carried out because the neighbour doesn't want to pay for their half of the work. In an ideal world, all neighbours would get along fine and would be equally willing to properly maintain their most important asset. Unfortunately, and particularly during the current cost of living crisis, some neighbours are either unwilling or unable to pay for these repairs. Theoretically, you might be able to rely on the Party Wall Etc. Act 1996 to require your neighbour to cough up some cash, but in practice, this is sometimes so expensive to administer that there will be little to no cost benefit in pursuing this course of action. Every situation is different, so if you aren't 100% sure that the recommended repair is the right one, you should consult a chartered building surveyor for advice on how to repair chimneys and parapet walls, and whether there is a mechanism to require your neighbour to share the cost of works if they are unwilling to do so. Whatever you do, if you commission a tradesperson to complete repairs to a chimney or party wall, you must ensure that they are addressing all disrepair and not just hoping that this is the one time in human history that water will care about boundary lines. If you need some advice on the right repair for your property, whether this is to do with repairing your chimney, damp-proofing your walls, or stopping that scary crack from getting bigger, our expert team of chartered building surveyors will be able to help. Harris & Clark Chartered Surveyors can be reached on 023 81 550051. We look forward to helping you tackle your weatherproofing woes.